I've had tournaments where I've had 11-pound leads, and I've increased that. You know, I've had tournaments where I've had 6, 7-pound leads, and
that freaking thing.
I had no worry. This is Lake Okeechobee. Anything's possible.
31 pounds, 3 ounces. Chris Lane trying to win the power pole slam.
I am out there with 100% confidence.
Oh my God, it's a giant.
I feel that. You know, the fish have got me this week a little bit. I've lost some big ones, but I caught enough. Pow!
The guy is trying to win everything. We've seen it before with Van Dam. We've seen it before with Ski. Those guys get on a roll. That's all they want to do is catch them and win events.
The 2 wins I've had here on Okeechobee have both come from behind.
You look at Chris Lane, he wins at Harris Chain, then he wins the Classic, and he's looking to win this one. I mean, he's only a pound behind Ish now, who caught a 34-pound sack and a 24-pound sack, so he's leading by a bunch after 2. Now he's basically tied. Momentum is key.
You know, Ish caught 35 the first day. He can go out there and do it again, you know, or guys behind us could catch 35, 40 pounds, and we catch 20, we lose. It's up to us to go out there and put the hammer down.
I can't change what they do. I can't tell them to back off. They're gonna do their job and I'm gonna do mine.
You know, you have a 14, almost 14-pound lead and it's knocked down to under a pound. Wouldn't you be a little ticked off and have another day to go?
We're not in the lead. We still got to make up ground tomorrow. I'm going for big bites. I'm not trying to catch a limit or anything like that. Oh, baby. Pow!
Top of the leaderboard. Pounds, 1 ounce, Papa Hill, Kevin Van Dam, shut the door, a number 4.
We may have already heard the quote of the day, anything can happen on Lake Okeechobee. It truly is a special place. The Bassmaster Elite Series second stop of this year, 2012, is Lake Okeechobee. We look at our Bass Locator presented by Yamaha. You've seen it before when you look at a map of Florida, this huge natural lake, this bowl. And we're here, Tommy Sanders and Mark Zona, to tell you, and we've said this about places before, Z, that this is one of the places, if you run away from home to be a bass angler, this is kind of the place you
really
go.
And what's going on here, if you're to look at this lake, and you say legendary, a lot of people, they come to this lake to fish and never leave. Really, if you're to equate it in Major League Baseball, this is the Yankee Stadium. And in this tournament, it's a lot like last week when we were just up the road at the St. John's. Elton Jones with a dominating lead almost gets run down in the last hour of the tournament. Ish Monroe destroying this tournament after 2 days of competition. He has been caught. The one thing to be said, though, if you want to see big bass, today is your day. Whoever wins this thing literally is going to have to wreck them on day number 4.
Absolutely. We saw in our open tees, we call it, plenty of evidence of big largemouth bass from Lake Okeechobee. Let's take you to day number 1. Look at the weigh-in and look at the big bags that came in, including Scott Rook of Arkansas, 20 pounds plus.
And in 5th place, brother of Chris Lane, Bobby Lane, 5th place, 21 pounds, 3 ounces.
And the hits just kept on coming. There's Chris Lane himself, a reigning Bassmaster Classic champ, 21 pounds, 15 ounces, putting himself right in there.
Nate Wellman stirring it up a little bit. 3rd place, 22 pounds, 3 ounces.
2nd place was Davey Hyde, an excellent day number 1 for the veteran, the former Classic champ, 25 pounds and 9 ounces.
Now look at this catch. When the entire tournament staff has to help you lift him up, Ish Monroe, 1st place, 34 pounds, 5 ounces.
Unbelievable as you look at that almost prohibitive lead. Well, it would be anywhere else but this place, as we say.
Wow.
Anything is possible at Lake Okeechobee. Ish Monroe, almost 10 pounds ahead of the pack there, and this was Ish Monroe on day number 2.
Day number 2, everything going perfect for Ish Monroe. Literally, our camera guys could not even get back to him in all this vegetation. One thing to be said on days 1 and 2, when he set the hook, they were a true giant.
Biggin, 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 biggin. Oh. Biggin. Get your mouth, get your butt. Look at that freaking thing. Look at that freaking thing. Look at that freaking mule. Oh my goodness. Can you say giant? I'm trying not to get too excited. just because I don't want all them guys around me to know what I'm doing. But oh my gosh, look at that thing.
You got to see how far that bait is down his throat. See how far that bait is down his throat? That's when you know you have the right bait.
So Ish Monroe with a giant lead after one day of fishing. This is how he backs it up. He has the largest bag on day number 2, 24 pounds and 15 ounces. That by now, he's really piling up the lead.
We're going to get out right now on day number 3. This is when the tide really turned for Ish Monroe. If you watch this, he was looking for a collision, and on the first 2 days, he found a collision of giant bass. But on day number 3, Ish Monroe was plagued with fish, but they were all small ones.
Now Chris Lane, the man who took advantage of the fall of Ish Monroe on day number 3. He's our Bassmaster Classic champ, of course, and what a show he put down on Shreveport and Bossier City's Red River. The playing field, he had a plan for it. He executed the plan and had one of the most emotional, heart-stopping wins that we have ever seen. Chris Lane, at this point in his career, also with the Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Open win to his credit, the man who is totally consumed by momentum.
Going to get on the water right now with Chris Lane. This is day 3, and these fish right here, the kind of fish you're going to see from Chris Lane, this is where the tide would turn.
See that point? See how you got a head right there? That's where I missed one yesterday. I put right in there and missed that fish. And they don't waste no time, man. That thing, it don't even hit the water. Boom! Oh my God, it's a giant. Oh, don't you come off. Whoa! Go! Pow! Go! Smoked it, baby! Boom! It just hit it so hard. Go over there with old Biggie. Oh, Biggie. Pow! Pitched right in on that one. Boom! I mean, just like, the animals here, man. And you saw when I sat into it. Man, I love this game, man. Golly, I love it. I'm eating it up, man. Golly, I'm telling you. You know, coming down here, fishing Lake Okeechobee, you got opportunities like that all the time here. And, you know, it's what we do. We catch big fish, man. Woo!
Has anyone stepped more forcefully into the role of the ultimate lights-out Florida fisherman than Chris Lane? What a 2012 he has had. Of course, we know he's had the tools for a long, long time, and now he comes from almost a 14-pound deficit to just a 9-ounce deficit.
Unbelievable.
That's our story, him versus Ish Monroe.
Really, if you look at Ish Monroe, probably one of the best big bass specialists ever in the history of the Bassmaster, all his history on Falcon, Amistad. Now you look at Chris Lane on his heels, momentum, and he knows more than any angler in our field on this Lake Okeechobee. And somebody is going to break, no doubt. Somebody's going to break 100 pounds. And a lot of these Okeechobee bass, there's 2 things here. One of them, getting them to bite, and the other thing is getting them in the boat. That has really been a story.
You talked about the knowledge of Chris Lane. Could that be the deal maker when it comes down to that final fish put into the boat today?
I know is
there's a lot that can happen
All
today.
I know is if you look at that footage right there, this is going to be a heck of a horse race, man.
Absolutely. A 2-man race from the get-go on the final day of competition. Let's take a look at our scoreboard one more time as we start the 4th and final day. Ish Monroe, the 9-ounce lead over Chris Lane. I don't care how you look at it. This is going to be a 2-man race on the final day of the Power Pole Slam. We've got it all for you. We're about to begin the fishing in earnest right now. Don't go away.
Pow! There goes my head.
The Bassmaster Elite Series Power Pole Slam is brought to you by Power Pole, Skeeter, Berkeley Tri-Lead, Anglers trust Berkeley Tri-Lead. And by Toyota.
Bassmaster Elite Series anglers are the best in the world. This is their second stop for the season of 2012. Bassmaster Elite Series Power Pole Slam at a great spot. Lake Okeechobee, so famous in the history of bass fishing, so famous for big fish, and that's been the story of our tournament so far. There he was, Ish Monroe, on day number 1, opening up a giant lead, almost 14 pounds after 2 days. But here, on day number 3, we see Chris Lane coming back strong, cutting the deficit to a mere 10 ounces. So a battle royal between these two big fish anglers, Chris Lane and Ish Monroe.
You know, I had a 13-pound lead, and you know, actually I started out with an 8-pound lead, then it went to 13, which is always what you want, and you want to increase your lead every day. And yesterday I felt like I had a decent day, and I knew I was going to lose the lead a little bit, but didn't feel like I was going to lose like 13 pounds of it. So, you know, that's what you get on this lake. You know, one bite changes your whole day. So, you know, that first 7-pounder that I put in the boat is going to get me excited, and hopefully that second one after that's going to really get me excited, and that third one, then I'll be pumped and amped up.
Take a look right now at Ish Monroe's run south on Lake Okeechobee. And here's an interesting dynamic right now. Ish Monroe has been fishing an area the entire tournament called Pelican Bay. And on this final morning, he is deserting that, fishing right outside of Clewiston. As of right now, Ish Monroe totally fishing blind. Not only that, totally fishing brand new water.
A few of them reed clump shake bites. You flip it in there in a reed shake. I had one like that yesterday, 4-pounder. Oh, first fish I lost all week. Oh, gosh, he swam all the way freaking out there with it. Golly, jeez. Ish, get your stuff together. It's a start.
Ish Monroe, that's his starter fish for today, and puts him, as you see, as you look at our unofficial leaderboard, with a bit more of an advantage at this early part of the day. But was it a key comment? What he just said, I haven't lost a fish all week. We saw him lose a couple there.
Not a very good start for Ish Monroe. Back up the lake with Chris Lane. We're going to follow his track right now to an area known as Observation Shoal, right near the Monkey Box. Probably more bass tournaments won right here than anywhere on the entire Lake Okeechobee. The amazing thing right now, Chris Lane looking to pick up right where he left off on day number 3.
God, that's a big one, dude. That was a big one. I mean, smoked it. I mean, that was a big one. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, right there, baby, right there. Took my trailer.
Big bite too. You know, it just kind of reassures you that, okay, all right, just take your time. Might not get as many bites today, but the big ones are still here. My main thing today is, it's good to let them eat it. You know, I've lost big fish every single day, and fishing this thick stuff, that's gonna happen, but not, you know, I think if I let them eat it a little bit more, might go up a little bit. My catch ratio. But you know, it was like this yesterday when we started out, you know, first 20 minutes or so, you just kind of try to figure them out a little bit. Wind's hammering in here pretty good though. That's the thing I got to keep telling myself is go for five big bites today. And that's really what we're doing in here. It's thick reed heads, matted, you know, Kissimmee grass all over. There's a good one right there. Eat it. Get your butt in here. Hey, that's a good start. What's that? 3 pounds, huh? Whew, number one. Thank you, Lord. Just come up, and that one wasn't worth a pow, but we're gonna get there. The 2 wins I've had here on Okeechobee have both come from behind. So I'm out there to go out there and do the best that I can, do my job, and man, if there's 5 more giants to bite that thing, I'm not, you know, I'm going for big bites. I'm not trying to catch a limit or anything like that. You stay on there. You stay on there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Not the same size as last time. On the small side, there's 2. Got to start somewhere. See, I mean, that one ate it. Look at that one hitting the reeds right there. Oh, come here.
And the momentum keeps building right now. Chris Lane starting exactly where he left off on day number 3, 2 early keepers in his live well.
And that's the way this heavyweight bout is going to go today. We saw it, Ish Monroe opening up a lead and Chris Lane coming right back and closing it. Our unofficial leaderboard right now with Lane on top, but there is so much more fishing to come. Most of these anglers have related to us that the big bite, the big fish come later on in the day. So no doubt we've got a lot to look forward to. We'll be back to it in just a moment.
Wow! Yeah!
Power pole slam from Lake Okeechobee in Florida and the Okeechobee County Tourist Development Council. Maybe with a bit more to brag on these days. This lake has been filling up. The bass habitat has been enhanced. Got some evidence of that for you right here. How about day number 3? Kevin Van Dam slapping down our Carhartt big bass of the tournament. 8 pounds and 14 ounces. This place has been rocking. There's our leaderboard early on the final day of competition with $100,000 on the line. Chris Lane, the man who's overcome the small deficit to take over the lead for now.
If you look at that Carhartt big bass from Van Dam, that shows you how many 5 to 8 pound fish that are in this lake. Shaw Grigsby, one of those anglers that has found one of those massive schools of just that size.
Got him. Oh, it's a big one. It's a real big one. Holy cow, he's going out the back. He's out the backside. He's all the way around the reed head. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Keep coming. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this fish. It is a giant. There you go. There you go. Come on. Come on. Just put your mouth in. Yes! Yes, 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 yes. That's what I'm talking about. Start the day with a toad. That's a big old pig, man. Gosh, I love it.
I love it too, Tommy Sanders. My world, that's called a slounge.
It is, isn't it?
Solid one with Shaw Grigsby right there. From there, going to go back up the lake right now with Chris Lane and get his thoughts so far on day number 4.
So as Chris Lane continues to fish, we get to fire a few questions in there to our second place angler to start this day. And Chris, talk to us first about how this day has performed as far as your expectations go.
Well, the wind's changed a lot out of the direction. It's blowing something we haven't had in practice at all. It's blowing out of the west, southwest, and you know, it's pushed some of the water out where I've been fishing. So, you know, I've had some key bites that didn't actually get the bait. They hit it hard, but they didn't take it. So we haven't had a whole lot of sun yet today, but when that sun gets straight overhead like that, those fish get real tight to those reed heads. So when you pitch it in there, you're pretty much pitching it right in front of their mouth, and that's when they just hammer the snot out of it.
Chris, being in the state of Florida, this is one of the only lakes that we get to where a jig has been so dominant this entire week. Why is that?
Well, you got a lot of shell cracker and bluegill coming up, you know, and when you're fishing these big reed heads like this, that's what those fish are keying on. And when you pitch that in there and it's right in front of their face, they just slam it.
Chris, you've won 2 of the 3 available tournaments to you. It's one of the most incredible starts to a bass fishing year that we have ever seen. Turn the tables a little bit. What would you think of a guy who has done what you have done, including winning the Bassmaster Classic? I mean, what objective viewpoint would you have to a performance like that?
Man, I don't know. I look at Skeet, you know, when he was winning all those tournaments, and Kevin's just been on an absolute phenomenal roll. And I actually talked to Kevin a little bit, and I says, man, he says, dude, you don't even try. You can't explain it, roll with it, because it's not going to last forever. So, you know, that's kind of my mindset, and I'm just going to try to ride this thing as long as we can.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, congratulations so far. Good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, stay on there.
Don't you do it.
Yeah! Wow! Yeah! Woo!
Now it's time to get to work. Poo-poo! Go on the big side. Now we got to get to work. Slow, steady, easy, bust them. Whew, thank you, Lord.
Well, that from Chris Lane, I know Mark Zona, brings us to our Evan Williams Bourbon Secrets Worth Sharing.
Good stuff right there from Chris Lane. And he said whenever you got in one of these areas where those fish were in that heavy cover, do not touch that trolling motor. From Chris Lane, we're going to get down to Ish Monroe that said the exact same thing through the week.
Ish Monroe, who had the massive lead at the midway point of this tournament, lost most of that to Chris Lane. And look at Chris Lane now. Started out behind today, but now he has opened up a 7-pound, unofficially, lead over Ish Monroe.
See, power pole's down, wind doesn't blow you all over the place into the best looking stuff. Kind of just sit here, flip around, all the good stuff.
Biggin, 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 biggin. Please tell me he's on there, still on there. Come on, troll him up. Oh, power pole's up. Come on, stay there. Get in there. Stay pegged. Watch it, coming at you. Can you say, can I get some of that? Yeah! Give me some! Folks at home. Yeah! Can you say, can I get some of that? Yeah! Yeah!
100% hot mess right there.
But Ish Monroe most certainly in his element. That's the way he likes to operate, going for the big ones. And with that single fish, that crucial fish, he takes the lead back from Chris Lane. This is a knockdown, drag out. And if you think you've seen the last of the big bass for this day, most definitely, we tell you stick around. This is Lake Okeechobee. We could go really big, really fast here. And guess what? We will.
See, guys go out there and they go fish for limits. I hear about all these guys, oh, I'm gonna go start on schooling fish. Skip the schooling fish. Straight to the big stick. I'm gonna catch 5. Chris Lane, prime example, our classic champion now. He's here swinging the big rod for big ones. You don't see him out there chasing schoolers around. You don't see him fishing for little ones. He's fishing for the right ones.
Toyota Tundra Bassmaster Angler of the Year, that super important award for consistency out here. Well, we've got a scoreboard for you from after our first tournament, Palatka, Florida. Of course, leading the way at this point is going to be Alton Jones, Todd Faircloth right behind him. And look at the man in 5th place, Skeet Reese, who did not make the Classic on points last year.
But he is back in a big way in 2012. Skeet Reese said, when you come to Okeechobee with all the pressure on this lake, take a look right there. He said, you fish the heaviest cover you can find.
That's a big one.
Five more like that. Leah, Courtney, Kimmy, Daddy just caught that one for you today. I'm coming home soon. Oh, I like that. It's so frustrating and scary because when you hook them back up in this stuff, even though you got the power to try and pull them, when they wrap around these reeds and these toolies and that hook grabs onto that or the fish wraps around it, you need rope and a tugboat to rip out of that, and you don't want to do that. Best thing to do, get on the trolling motor, try and pin the fish to that stuff, trolling motor over to it, and grab that fish. Because if you try and rip it out of there, you're going to lose a lot of the fish, but that was cool.
Skeet Reese way back in the bull rushes, or toolies as they call them out of California. That's part of his strategy, as is it for Ish Monroe.
Exactly right, Tommy Sanders. And this is the best part of the show. We're going to break down exactly what he's doing with the Bassmaster Advanced View presented by Humminbird. And if we go under the water right now, Ish literally said it. He said there was a party going on these real heavy clumps of reeds. And here's what I mean by that. If you look at the base of these reeds, there was a lot of tilapia spawning, he said, that the bass would feed on. He also said a lot of these largemouth were also still locked on beds, but he was not concentrating on looking at them. His number one weapon was this 1-ounce jig with a missile D-bomb trailer. And what he would do was he would dob that right through. Typical Okeechobee fishing, and literally on the first drop, the initial drop, that's when those big ones would pound that jig.
Oh, God, I missed him. Missed him. Big one, real big one, big giant 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 one. Stay pegged. Dang it, boys and girls, you give me some on that. Oh, I missed her. Flip back in there. Oh, it's 7.
All right, Ish Monroe jerking on him furiously there. Maybe we can wedge in a few questions here. Ish, what momentum is going for you? I mean, it started before the midpoint of last season. You got some magic working for sure.
Well, you know, little luck from the lunch lady, you know, cleared my head. You know, it's about having fun, getting out here and enjoying this whole deal. You know, before I got really stressed out, and I think that's kind of what happened to me at St. John's. I had a lot of pressure on me, and I just need to relax and have fun. That's why we're out here.
Yeah.
Ish, if you can, the area that you're fishing is so vast. Describe what you're pinpointing where you're catching these fish, especially the ones you have found this morning.
Well, what happens is my Navionics chip and my Lowrance unit show me these little ditches that come out in these reeds. And so what I do is I fish my way through, I see a little ditch because of the shading, and then all of a sudden I slow down. And then I get a bite and I slow down. And then all of a sudden when you do that, you get another bite. And then you get another bite. And they come in little groups and little spurts. So I've just been covering a bunch of water until I can get to the right spot, and I pick a fish up here in between, here and there.
If you're to describe the areas that you're fishing, what exactly is going on under the water? Are there fish that are still spawning down there?
Yeah, there definitely are. What it is I'll get into areas and I'll see tilapia beds and I'll see a few bass beds, and I think what it is now that I know that there's a few spawning, I'm putting it right on the right at the top point of the reed clumps, because that's where a lot of the beds are made. Or if I see holes in, like I'm flipping right now, you know, there's possibly a bed there.
All right, just let it drift and get on it in this final day. And Ish, you're doing great. We wish you well, and we'll see you at weigh-in time.
Thanks. All right, guys.
Ish Monroe looking for that collision. From there, let's get back up to Chris Lane. A couple fish in the live well. He said the number one key in all this grass, look for the irregularities, whether it's holes or little points. Whenever you'd find those, you would find the bass.
God dang it, that was a big one. Let him eat the freaking bait.
Let's get another big one out of here, man. Come on, I need one to sting me right in here. By sting, I mean boom.
Biggin'. Oh, it's a giant.
Stay on.
I got you, baby. 4.5, maybe. Whew. Pow! There goes my hand. Pow!
Sanders, do you see a theme building here? Is it fair to say Chris Lane just has a lot of trouble with the brim?
Well, I'll put it this way. I'd rather have to tone him down than to try to push him back up. And thank goodness we don't have to do that. He has plenty of enthusiasm.
Well, one thing's for sure, when that hat flies, Chris Lane usually very close to the top of the leaderboard.
Usually you are right. In this case, though, well, Ish Monroe has about a 7-pound lead, but the thing is, that has no meaning here on Lake Okeechobee. Think of the arc of this tournament. As we look at our leaderboard there, Ish Monroe, an almost 14-pound lead after the first 2 days of fishing. And Chris Lane only takes 1 day to erase nearly all of that. Day number 3. These guys started just about neck and neck on this final day, and they may finish in the same fashion.
You come to Okeechobee, and it used to be one guy used to have 30-pound bag, and I caught a 30-pound bag. I was like, juice. I'm like, it's over. But now, it's a different ball game. I mean, anything can happen.
Bassmaster Elite Series 2012 coming to you from legendary Lake Okeechobee, one of the places where bass fishing as a sport really got started. We're in Okeechobee City, northern end of the lake here as we look at our leaderboard on this 4th and final day of competition. $100,000 on the line, and Ish Monroe, the angler who won the very first Bassmaster Elite Series event way back in 2006, is looking to kick off his season in a big way here. He's over the 100-pound mark.
And if you were to check out bassgold.com before this tournament and look at top finishes on Lake Okeechobee over the years, you would see there's 3 major areas of this lake you better be concentrating on. You look at the north end right here where Jeff Creed is. From there, just slide down the west end to the area known as the Monkey Box. You'll see Chris Lane right there. And then the south end where Ish Monroe, guys like Shaw Grigsby, fished the whole tournament. Really, the rest of the lake was not even a factor.
All right, back to the rest of the lake and the rest of this tournament. It's the 4th and final day, and the man giving chase to our leader, Ish Monroe, is our current Bassmaster Classic champion, Chris Lane.
Well, your day can change so fast on Lake Okeechobee, so fast, you know. You boom, you catch a big one, turn around, catch another one, then you catch one about 3 pounds. So, I mean, we still need some big fish if we're gonna win this thing, but man, you know, you can fish a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical. You know, it's like playing poker with a big sack of chips. Come on, Biggie. Big old bed there, and I couldn't tell if there was a fish on it or not, but I'm gonna give it a double take, because if there is, then that would be the one we would want, bed that big. Might have been, I think that right where I caught that 8-pounder yesterday, but I mean, she hit it like they're chasing bluegill again, you know. There we are, every one that we've caught is good and skinny. Not skinny if they're fat, they got a big old bluegill in their belly. Don't you do it. Yeah. We're getting there, baby. We're getting there. Still ain't got enough to win. Gotta want to hit that 100-pound mark. I need an 8-pounder and we'll do it.
Just an 8-pounder, Tommy.
Just an 8-pounder. Well, he's right. That fish provides him an upgrade, but still, the fact of the matter is he has an 8-pound deficit against Ish Monroe, the man who has really seemed since the start of this tournament the guy ordained to win it.
Well, and if you look at what goes on here on Okeechobee, not just this tournament, whenever you get near one big one, you know, it is spring break, Tommy Sanders. You get near one female, generally you find a lot more, and Ish Monroe has done that to perfection this entire week. Whenever he has caught one giant, put those power poles down and dissect that area. Not only that, fishing at a brand new area here on day number 4, and it looks like an incredible decision.
I fish for big fish. I pull out the big rod, the flipping stick, and I have at it. I love braid, I love 1.5 ounce weights, and I love sticking big ones. I don't play the finesse game. I fish hard for big ones. Even the Z-Train knows I like fishing for big ones. I like having the flipping stick in my hand. I like having the frog rod in my hand. I don't like waving the fairy wand, spinning rod as we call it, around. That's just not me. I'm the big stick guy. I fish to catch big fish, and I feel like I'm gonna catch the limit fish to go with it. Biggin, 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 biggin. Stay pegged, oh my God. Stay pegged. Let me get my hands on you, girl. Get my hands on you. Got her. Wes, this is the 10. Golly gee, sorry you're gonna have to beep that, but golly gee, give me some. He's 8. I got a power pole down. Oh my goodness. When you're culling fish like that, gosh, it's game. Whew, game on, boys, game on. Let me make sure, hold on. Okay, yes. And yes.
All I could say is wow, that's it.
The laughter understandable. Ish Monroe in the place where he wants to be. Also, Ish Monroe giving us our Bassmaster shot of the day, presented by Skeeter. That fish right there, how can you not choose it? That is huge. And look at this huge weight, unofficially now for Ish Monroe, over 108 pounds. That is the fish that's going to put it away this time for Ish Monroe. We'll come back and make it official in just a moment.
Double gun, bang, bang, bingo for Ish Monroe. The Bassmaster Elite Series Power Pole Slam is brought to you by Humminbird, Toyota, and by Skeeter.
Back to C. Scott Driver Park here in our host city, the city of Okeechobee, which couldn't be better. Enthusiastic crowds as this big bass show rolls on. 6 anglers, in fact, bringing in sacks of over 20 pounds on this 4th and final day. What a weigh-in. Skeet Reese, one of them. How about him with his 2nd consecutive top 5 finish in this elite season? Chris Lane going to fall a bit short with 18 pounds, 13 ounces. All eyes now on Ish Monroe.
Already a member of the Century Club. Can he join it again? Ish Monroe! Needs 23.10 to hit the Century Club. Double gun, bang, bang, bingo for Ish Monroe. Come on over here, Chris. One of you guys side by side. Let's get them side by side. 30 pounds, 15 ounces. Ish Monroe smokes them. It is the year of Ishama. Let me hear it for Ish Monroe, Power Pole Slam champion.
And there it is, official, the Berkeley final leaderboard of the day, 108+ pounds. Ish Monroe, let's give it up for the champion of the Power Pole Slam.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Talk about it a little bit. What's it like to smash him like that on this great, great fishery?
Oh, man. Okeechobee, I don't even know what to say. The fans are great. The fishing's great. The weather's great. Everything's great.
Right now it would be, wouldn't it?
Tee us up real quick. If we look at the history of Ish Monroe as a big bass master on the Elite Series, Falcon, Amistad, now here, when it's a heavyweight tournament, you come to play.
Yeah, I love fishing for big ones. You know, I room with the guy, Mike Iaconelli, which you guys all know. He loves the spinning rod. And I tell him, I have no spinning rods in my boat. I refuse. I am a frog, braid, flip and stick guy, and I love using it.
If you can describe, you're one of the only anglers we've ever covered. After day 3, you were not in a good mood behind the stage.
I know, even though I was leading, I mean, come on now, I had the big grizzly bear on my back, you know? Chris is on a tear. He's awesome right now. He's on fire, and there's no stopping him. And I had to do something, you know? I'm like, I can't stop him, so what I got to do? It's kind of funny because Skeet Reese came up to me yesterday. He says, you know what you need to do? And I'm like, what's that? He goes, just go fishing. Then John Murray came up to me and says, just go fishing. Lunch lady gives me a call. Just go fishing. Hey. That was the important call there, you know? And it's just like, I went out and I just went fishing. I had a couple of spots that I had, and I didn't get a bite. I'm like, third area, and then I'm heading to Pelican. That's it, I'm going. I get in that third area, I come off pad, I drop the trolling motor, make my first flip and miss one. Second flip, I catch a 4-pounder. Third flip, I catch a 2.5. Power pole down, right then and there, power pole down. Start flipping around, catch a couple little ones, working my way back, power pole down. Boom, 4-pounder, boom, 6-pounder, boom, 7-pounder. I'm like, that's what's got to happen when you get in an area. You got to drop your power poles and, you know, just fish and be very quiet. You know, the one thing that a lot of people were doing is they were blowing through the area.
1-2 punch, throwing a jig with a Missile Baits D-bomb today. But as you say, Ish Monroe, that right there, that was not the only weapon throughout the week.
No, the D-bomb is the weapon of choice throughout the whole week. But I actually, the first day when I caught that 34-pound bag, I was using a River to Sea 1 ounce and a 1.5 ounce trash bomb with a Paycheck Baits punch skirt and punch hook, 5/0 punch hook, and 70-pound Daiwa Samurai braid on an 8-foot Daiwa Steve's flipping stick.
Tell me what made you switch throughout this tournament from that to this.
This bait here was for the thicker, heavier cover. That first day, you know, those fish were in it and they were aggressive in that stuff. And so I was flipping right to the heart of it. I wasn't going for those little fish. I was flipping right to the heart of it. Well, as the tournament progressed, there started to be more boats out there. The wind starts laying down, and then we start getting a little cloud cover. So those fish, what they do is they decide that they're going to start moving around. And so when they start doing that, you got to creep in there on them and you make these pitches, and you got to make that right pitch right to the edge or the point of those reeds, and all of a sudden it just goes dip, and swims away.
Did you call Sanders a trash bomb?
No, wait a minute.
Is that what I heard?
He was talking about
I'm sorry.
Maybe you.
Sorry.
Maybe you. Maybe you.
Maybe me. It might have been me.
Talking about no offense taken. Hey,
Yeah.
the decision of the week for you, Ish Monroe, what was it?
Decision of the week was to go fishing today. You know, I didn't get caught up in where I'd been catching them and stuff like that. But it's weird and it's interesting. You know, you get in an area, you catch 34 pounds out of there the first day. You catch 25 pounds out of there the second day. You've got other couple elite guys that are in there, and they don't catch them. You're kind of like, well, how many of your big ones are they really in there? Am I just that lucky? What happened? I don't know. So I had to make an audible.
You left the St. Johns River, the worst tournament of your career, and back it up with one of the best tournaments of your career. Talk about it.
Well, you know, this is the best tournament I've ever had. You know, I weighed 108 pounds over the course of 4 days, but my best prior to that was 104 pounds. So I was disgusted. I left there, you know, even Iaconelli was afraid to come around me when I was after that tournament. He was running. He was like, Ish, you need something? I'm like, no, I'm good. Just leave me alone over here in my corner. So then he sends Vegas over to come and talk to me, and Vegas is like, just go fishing. And so that's what I went out this week and just went fishing and had fun.
When we started this Bassmaster Elite Series, you were the man on top. Very first event, a big fish event on Lake Amistad. You come back, you do this thing at Lake Okeechobee. I mean, you got the credentials. You are the big bass ninja.
I want to be on the Big Bass show. Z Train show. I want to go and catch big ones on Z Train show.
Down the
Got here tomorrow.
All right. Let's shoot. Let's shoot.
We got him here. We got a great champion here. The Power Pole Slam one more time for Ish Monroe.
Folks at home, folks at home. Yeah! I got you, baby! Pow! There goes my... Yes! Yes, 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 yes! That's what I'm talking about. Right.
30 pounds, 15 ounces. Ish Monroe smokes them. It is the year of his shaman.